Galaxy conjuring receipt.
Here on the a cappella tip, pondering recitative. Here on the a cappella tip, pondering recitative with mangled 90s slang, at one with forgotten rhymes, menaced by the ever-fading crowd chorus for Nostradamus, a spine twitching in Dr. D's library, ephemeristed or just confused by Rattle's obscurantism. Would you love me to parteth you in the dark, or should I feign new meride faith and film Bowery in reverse in front of bitter witnesses, admit that the hot prince can't help run away? And confessional would be just too much. Besides, being no bloody use is a form of emotional therapy because what can come from nothing except more nothing, so why bother if the only free expression available is shopping for a whole lot of nothing inside a fairly useless system of legal opportunity this time ill shitty pop-ass and misunderstanding that gets me cold. And the fair lady couldn't sing a single note, she kept on humming a melody stylized after British betrayal, but just losing my goddamn mind. And how can one begin to explain that angry soul bathed in a self-deluding but sweet-natured hallucinatory tenebrosis that seems to follow the aftershave scent of my cloying love? So something to look forward to, lost in melancholy, steeped in filth, lost between snatches of bedtime people. Drunk on Mardi Gras, or in general sick of pussy, sick of politics, sick of thinking, outraged, sickened by a miserable untuned clatter of panpipes dying from a Jewish disease. At least their bodies are beautiful. And if you want to look behind their all naked forevermore from bowels to chinskins divine, here we need music with voices higher than my screaming kazoo heart, soul bleeding out into disgusting noises that sound as harmless as a stupid child's skirl about this soft skin and this perfect chapter. Long breasts could make a god weep over the beauty not a man could make an unbreathing life bred upon. Another bad love song about how much I hate you could be worse. One more time, I suppose, perhaps. Well, who's got time to listen anymore? Who even wants a meaning anymore? So by all means, let's just kill the noise and change everything into buying something. Cobain, take the space, maybe run away from home, leave my dreary room. Sleep on the streets, my room is too boring. Set fire to things no fucking way. Nobody would notice, I'd definitely wake up with a carefree hard look into eyes that only look back at my groin. Bet I'll need Viagra resorts, there's no way out of this spineless chicken shit even with my pecs. Stop talking about worms, we're so far beyond dirt we're drowning in toxins, we're made out of air or dust. I want anyone but you. The power beneath you grows out thanks your quaint desire. Flee from third world and your hair is silk. We'll make love until our feet are sore. Trust me, but only for the next 3 seconds. After that, all bets are off. Angel from water, but not scales. Love me until this world is gone. You remain outside. May change your mind into slashing and burning out heads off, flailing around trying to escape. One of these days, me too fucking bad. I'll wallow in you alone forever without any need for sleep. Eat a whole flock of sheep together. Kiss until tongue is blackened. Chicken blood dripping from hands like little toys. Everyone together float waits on that ugly crowded boat to say bye kids when we're done cry. Answer now and get no second show. hallucinating, licking honey off my fingers, dreaming with eyes closed, fast asleep, remembering a road trip down California with your flighty booty call, remembering the stars with your cruising inside me, remembering the night from under the hood of your car, remembering watching you kiss that woman at a mood show, and the way she looked at you, and the fact that you didn't tell anyone because, well, it was none of our business, even though it was each other's business, which means we fucked it up forevermore. But what do I think all true loves go bankrupt on account of living hedonistically all alone forever, living in our own personal catastrophes. No wonder queer loves are so attractive. All this drama just makes me feel better about whatever fucked up fuckfest I'm having myself, baking apple pies in my oven and stale bread. 9/11, or as I call it, Tuesday, September 11th, 2001, at 20 past 10 a.m. there is a whole lot of nothing happening. Everybody is still sleeping except for those few among us who are a little too drunk or stoned. Just like America's politicians, they need an extra hour's sleep, at least an hour and 10 minutes, but they're liars too. Everybody knows that they need more than an hour, but they'd have to give up smoking or drinking or check their emails or help their children with their homework. Who has enough time to worry about families nowadays? Not us, no fucking way. What can we do besides partying into whatever numb? Yes, we can find an arming ourselves as best as possible if we're still trying to stand up our feet or our heads. And yeah, if everyone doesn't wake up and figure out what is to be done, or for whom all will ever be again will be bad history books, which probably means we'll still be fighting wars and making great big totally righteous bombs to drop on anyone who we determined is making us uncomfortable or looking at us funny, which means since they made a fact-finding mission to Bar-S Ranch in North Korea and found they were selling plasma lace with nerve agents in that cosmetics section, there's an excellent chance that San Francisco is making us uncomfortable and looking at us funny, even if they stopped selling oranges halfway down Market Street today. When I say this word end, I do not mean the end of history, but a state of the world when everything is determined for us by those on high, feeling fine because none of you therefore it's been decreed by the highest state of mind that this must end now before we lose our nerve, knowing that most of those bozos already have lost their nerve, unless you want another Bosnia or another Iraq. Whatever I mean is, if you don't want to have to think of any of this shit anymore in the first place anymore, he's finally missed his window to get the fuck out while he could, along with so many others. My brother's family live in Walden Greens, a northern suburb of Seattle. They moved there this January from Los Angeles after there was a date on several TV stations as non-stop news coverage when he finally got himself finished with hanging out with his college buddies there in Berkeley last summer. Until then, they'd kept busy with young people crashing in their collective large open loft apartment on campus while they jogged around through hours worth of community service, prancing in Star Wars uniforms at AIDS Walk, spreading light into dark corners. This former classmate of mine, Christian Envoy, is still up there somewhere, so I'm not sure he's completely missed his window yet. That's just an example. I know that somebody is looking for a problem to solve. Those local businesses are more than happy to accept people's donations while people from colleges around them come and volunteer time to work together toward building sky-tracking coffee shops right in the neighborhood, which also is the same area as Beetle Middle School, where my kid brother is going to be attending. Now, I just heard on the radio that, Jay might now plead temporary insanity. Yeah, they're saying right now that maybe he really might have proved his innocence when he was a kid, but he'll still just go away. And one big joke for the rest of us who've had enough already. I mean, when did evil become something so fucking omnipresent it has spread all over through America? I remember thinking back in 1989 how weird it was that I thought Walmart was so evil someday when gas has risen past $125 a gallon. For all of us, absolutely everybody will stand on a street corner with their signs trying to sell out their rights to take back their lives, singing "Ain't No Big Thing, It's Only a Human Being and Some Bees Coffee." Back in high school or college before we lost touch and fell down off balance, But anyway, California is just as crazy as any other state around here, so maybe every little suburb is a good place to live. We know who we are here, we know what we want, and what we're willing to do anything to get it. And no one even really looks at other people. They don't even stop to say hi, greetings, or good day, mister. It's everybody trading all the time. Oh, it's such a fascinating population because one thing leads to another, because suddenly it gets too hard to look at each other anymore without being able to read each other like we know something important is happening right now, and it'll continue happening until someone with some real money decides it's time for something better or different. At least that's what everybody keeps thinking off the line at the very bottom of their hearts. They hardly ever say these things out loud, not even their significant others as far as they know anyway. Then eventually, if they're lucky, it all turns into something else. The end. Adam and Eve's Zone of the Unwelcome Return of the Floating Boy. I remember that you wanted everyone at home to come here this summer before last July. Tell him about your day. Go this way, but don't go too far. Of course, I remember. You wanted him to see the area while he was here. I remember. You wanted him to understand being out here in the world on his own, away from home for the first time on his own without even me around. At least that's how I thought of it at the time. You didn't need my permission after all. He went back east well enough. Yeah, I guess you can't get more than what you actually do. Tell him whatever happened when he comes home fine. I'm sure he'll be proud of you and of me. We're fairly prideful creatures no matter what anybody says. I remember telling him I wanted him to meet this musician named Daniel Cohen and to hear his albums. Almost any song title from the album Moon and the Sea would do. Just listen normally and not get all excited about hearing his voice because he doesn't sing. Or maybe I tried to tell him his voice sounds like Matthew Dusk if it's drowned out less by the music that's in between the songs. Normally, I told him he'd figure out all this stuff for himself anyway. It never occurred to me that none of it would be true anymore. Incarnation is the reason to believe. So this place is a total wreck. I see you still haven't fixed up that new corner shop on the north side of Allen Street, but with all these people out walking around, how are you supposed to get any work done around here? I'm outside those slots. I'm doing everything but taking in all the voices and all the noises around me and not meaning anything anymore. I'm reading a book. They have a cute sign over there that says fixed up movie theaters, which reminds me of all the things that make me deaf. I'd go over there myself if I didn't have some other place I have to go roam around for a while. I can't believe I'm standing in Times Square. What an absolute mess. Everything is so fast here, just like it was as a kid before my head started filling up with useless information. Throw everything out. Proof that anybody can do anything if they really want to, but most people never seem to care who wants it. They just stand around waiting for somebody who's paying them back in some way. Too much free time. What else is there though? Not much else anywhere in the world. Not many places left to go anyway. Never much mattered whether or not I went anywhere else. Much less each place. Too far it all looks and feels exactly the same anymore. Same stuff as everybody else. No place for uniqueness anymore. Not much of an existentialist. I was right after all. I remember standing in the middle of this building in September 1985 singing Chopsticks by Bern Rickenboss, and I saw this older man sort of look directly at me, almost as if he were pretty much acknowledging that he was sighted for the first time after decades on the street, or maybe more accurately, maybe just a man who had continued carrying several sunglasses with him for years, figuring one day he'd find someone who would need one to help him see through those times when the light gets too bright or something. At least that's how my brother used to carry around his sunglasses most days since he started working during daylight hours, getting out of bed at 9:30 in the morning. But maybe these old sunglasses were made in some factory and delivered to my dad, and he didn't want anybody seeing him wearing them. The multi-dimensional space painters behind me begin walking away together back down towards a starless horizon, and which will someday soon be part of this huge starless circle they're making out here. After walking back so far away, no one will ever notice them again. Afterwards, after listening to them talk, after each moving towards and beyond the razor edge of my ecological existence, next millennium Zen Buddhism influences by more than a few millennia, or their single album careers into their final 50 years of silence. How long has it been now since I first heard Matthew Dusk without eyes but only through my ears while touching my cheeked with my feet again, just like they did hundreds of years ago when their tails were still just for decoration. Walking along so hard towards that infinite intersectionless direction. Chopsticks by Bernrick and Baugh. Let those worlds come back again and again and again. It's a good one. Let those worlds come back again and again and again. I must say, man, it's been so long since we last saw each other. Haven't seen you since the last Grateful Dead show right here back in 1995. We were part of a whole crowd walking all over this place downtown like it.
That's enough for right now.